What do you have zero sympathy for? People who get towed when they leave their car running in the fire lane in front of supermarkets. We had a lady come back in and scream bloody murder at my coworker because she got her a ticket because the 2 to 3 minutes Kristen spent helping her was long enough for the cops who always were in our lot to notice her car parked in the fire lane. It was amazing when she came back a few days later with a card and a sincere apology admitting how childish she had been and it was actually her own fault. A card and a sincere apology admitting how childish she had been and it was actually her own fault. Gotta give her some credit then. We all have those really bad days where things just seem to pile on. Only a decent human being would see the error in her ways and apologize. Most would move on selfishly without another thought. Takes a good person to own up to their mistakes, especially to a stranger. She might have been an ass in the moment, but good on her for apologizing. People who yell or snap at bartenders and then have to wait longer to get their drink. Guests who sit down and aren't served within 30 seconds even though I acknowledged them while helping another guest. Hello? Can I get some service here? Whack off. Actually, I dated a woman recently who was like this. She also didn't understand that you wait to be seated for food regardless of how empty a restaurant per bar is. Turns out she just hadn't been to many restaurants. For once in my life it was me teaching etiquette. Laughing face. People who are absolute cunts to minimum wage workers, retail, servers, fast food, etc., then cry when they don't get their way, or better yet, get kicked out. That worker doesn't control the price or the inventory, or even the store policy. If you have a problem, ask for a manager like an adult instead of throwing a temper tantrum. As a minimum wage employee, the amount of times my black coworker has been called racial slurs for just doing his job makes me so fucking sick. Doesn't matter what the wage is, that's never okay. I got called a racist by a drunk white guy, I'm black and a chick, because he tried to grab my phone on my counter instead of asking to use it. Then when he spoke to a manager, he said, "Oh yeah, manager's name is a bitch." Couldn't even get my name right, lol. When I see someone driving like a total knobhead, cutting everyone off, causing near crashes all down the road, and then I pass them later on pulled over by a cop. This actually happened to me once, perhaps one of the most gratifying moments I've ever witnessed. It was like 3 a.m., I was coming home from working in a different part of the state. I passed a sitting state trooper, and almost immediately after, this guy flies by me doing close to 100 in a flashy sports car. As I was quietly bitching about the cop not doing his job, he flies by me, lights and sirens going, and pulled sports car guy over. I hope I straight up willed that to happen. Cop probably was chillin', so it took him a minute to start going after the guy, probably saying something along the lines of "damn it, I was comfortable." Child predators. I knew one. He sexually abused my cousin from the age of 4 until she had the courage to tell her parents at age 12. He's serving 3 years in jail because she didn't testify against him, too uncomfortable and didn't feel safe. I will never have sympathy. If he isn't dead, I would kill him, her dad might. That fucker deserves to suffer, and if I see him, I'll make him suffer. 3 years in prison is not enough for 8 years of child abuse. Disgusting. People who abuse their kids, pets and then cry when they get taken away from them by CPS, animal control. People who die while doing dumb and preventable shit, taking selfies in dangerous places, taunting wild animals then getting attacked, parkour, other stunts if they know full well it's beyond their skill, etc. Edit. Also, people who join MLMs and become broke. There's so much information on how dangerous and predatory these companies are. If you still wanna join, fine, that's on you then, but don't come crying to us when you lose all of your money, have medical issues, especially with ones like It Works, and doTERRA, lose your house and have thousands of dollars worth of unsold inventory because nobody else wanted it. Edit 2, with the parkour stunts, I don't mean trained professionals. I mean just regular people who do dumb dangerous stunts to impress their friends, liking jumping into the pool from your roof and then missing and breaking your neck, etc. With MLMs, I mean younger, sound-minded people who should know better and recognize scams, not disabled or elderly people. I think I'm naive here, but what does MLM stand for? Wait. I just Googled it. Multi-level marketing, e.g. pyramid scheme. I'm still gonna post this comment cause I can't be the only person who didn't know this. People who act like the victim with everything, after dating one for a while it finally hits you how cancerous it is. It weighed on my mental health and I almost went to a psyche ward. Her ghosting me was the best thing to ever happen to me last year. My ex didn't necessarily play victim, but she always had this chip on her shoulder. There was this big victimization thing going on at her dorm, and after hearing multiple sides I still don't know what to believe. It does weigh you down, man. People who treat everybody like garbage then complain about being lonely. Like, I'm not getting paid to be here. If you act like a dick, I'm leaving. Had a friend exactly like this. After years of abuse, our entire social group left him. Had a friend like this, spoke to his best mate like pure shit, all the time. I asked him why he puts up with it and he replied with, "Oh, it's just him." I eventually managed to open his eyes and show him that that's not how male friends treat their other male friends. Big arguments happened. More childish behavior happened too. Didn't speak or see anyone for ages. Eventually those said asshole saw the error of his ways and apologized, told us what was in his head, and now we're all closer than ever. No matter who it is or what they've done. Or how many stripes they have or how many zero in their bank account. You speak and treat me like a normal human being. Not flushing your shit. I'm a janitor. Not flushing your shit is disgusting, but understandable if the flush isn't working, if the eco-flush is too small, if you're extremely germophobic, etc. But shit piss fetishists, please find somewhere other than my clinic waiting room toilets to film your fetish videos for Pornhub. Every fucking day, someone does something like take a shit in the bin, piss up the wall to the ceiling, piss or shit all over the toilet, fill the toilet with period pads and pad wrappers, piss in the sink, find crevices to shove shit and piss. I'm not even fucking joking, and half the time I suspect it's staff. But when you talk to the manager, she's best friends with everyone, so, oh, I really don't think so and so would have done that. And one of the office staff who never leave their side of the building still wants to call me lazy for finding microscopic amounts of dust under her desk. Like, don't fucking tell me to drag the Hoover in here for one piece of hole punched paper because I have 3 different backed up toilets to sort out. I have zero sympathy for a parent that never says no to their child. Agree, but I have endless sympathy for the poor teachers that have to teach them. It is rough. I'm an early years teacher and we already see it in that age group. Even in my infants, toddlers' room. You can almost see these kids' whole life spread out in front of them, and the dozens of teachers pulling their hair out. I just don't understand it, because when they get out into the real world and get a job, they're not going to cope. People abusing others, especially children, in any way, physical and emotional. Asian parents would like to know your location. They probably already know it though. People who won't stop having kids even though all you hear from them is griping about how they have no money or a life of their own, or they're tired all the time, or they say stuff like, "But this is so hard." Don't act surprised that that kind of shit happens once you start having kids. It's some of the most common frigging knowledge in the world. And don't start palming off your younger kids on your older ones all the time, either. You wanted a baseball team, you gotta coach 'em all. This is not about parents whose older children want to help or have some responsibilities like helping their siblings with tying shoes and what all. This is about parents whose older kids don't get to be kids because they are too busy raising their siblings. Nothing fucking pisses me off more. Your older kids aren't your damn co-parents. Let them have the same quality childhood as their other siblings and raise them all your damn self. I know someone like this. She is expected to do so much for her sibling, it's ridiculous. She also recently moved out of home and her mother lost her shit apparently. It's so fucked. There is nothing wrong with asking for help sometimes, but if you don't want to parent a child, freaking use a rubber or something, not that complex at the end of the day. People getting destroyed by animals after ducking with them. Matadors. There is a picture out there of a matador with a bull's horn right through his lower jaw. I like that picture. Duck teasing animals for sport. It's a tradition that need to die. Teasing animals. And killing them. There's that part. Not humanely either. Sticking and prodding it with swords for a long time before killing it. One of the dumbest ducking traditions if you ask me. Drunk drivers. And people who text and drive. Studies show it's as dangerous as drunk driving. It's generally more dangerous. Texting takes your attention entirely away from the road. Contrary to popular belief, the brain cannot multitask in the ways we think it can. A person who is texting and driving is going to have zero response time to a potential accident, no opportunity to swerve away or slow down. Drunk driving is also stupid and dangerous as hell, of course, but a drunk driver has more of a chance to avoid another car and injure themselves instead, assuming they are driving alone, which unfortunately many aren't. When I see someone driving like a total knobhead, cutting everyone off, causing near crashes all down the road, and then I pass them later on pulled over by a cop. This actually happened to me once, perhaps one of the most gratifying moments I've ever witnessed. It was like 3 a.m., I was coming home from working in a different part of the state. I passed a sitting state trooper, and almost immediately after, this guy flies by me doing close to 100 in a flashy sports car. As I was quietly bitching about the cop not doing his job, he flies by me, lights and sirens going, and pulled sports car guy over. I hope I straight up willed that to happen. Cop probably was chillin', so it took him a minute to start going after the guy, probably saying something along the lines of, "Damn it, I was comfortable." That guy who got killed by that indigenous tribe on that island that the government told him not to go on, because if he went there he would get killed by that indigenous tribe. Sentinel Islanders? Apparently there was some missionary who went there and got killed, but I don't know if you're referring to this one. Yay, it was that one. Sentinel Islanders seem to really have their shit together. Good on them. How much you want to bet if they actually let him in they'd all be dead within a few weeks from disease? I'm fairly sure that's the main reason that India has their no-contact policy in place. People who are absolute cunts to minimum wage workers, retail, servers, fast food, etc., then cry when they don't get their way, or better yet, get kicked out. That worker doesn't control the price or the inventory, or even the store policy. If you have a problem, ask for a manager like an adult instead of throwing a temper tantrum. As a minimum wage employee, the amount of times my black coworker has been called racial slurs for just doing his job makes me so fucking sick. Level 1 Benji 17x 17.8k points 15 hours ago edited 6 hours ago People who use suicide against people wanting a breakup. Edit Imagine calling 911 on your birthday. Edit IDK if that upvote score is viral or not but like thank you so much I'm new so I didn't accept this much love. Also I've only seen someone talk about my situation once but I'm glad to see I'm not alone. I'm glad I got out of that relationship and see that I'm not the only one who had to go through that. I said something horrible to my ex who threatened that. He was an abusive sack of shit who threatened violence multiple times against me. I decided to leave him before things escalated when I saw the red flags. After I broke up with him, he texted and messaged me relentlessly no matter how many times I blocked him. He was begging me, with tears, to go back to him. But this boy who threatened to quote, stomp my teeth in, is now so sensitive and so lost without me. Finally, after a month of this when I threatened to get a restraining order, he threatened to kill himself if I did. I told him, do it. At least then I'd finally be rid of you. It was the worst thing I ever said to a person. That moment, the ugliest side of me came out. But I don't regret it. Because, the moment I said that, he never bothered me again. So I guess that ugliness was what it took, and that ugliness kept me safe. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.